prepare yourself. It's necessary. The gospel is not the gospel without this. And I ask you too, if you have kids listening in, children listening in, you might want to remove them as you prepare to listen to this yourself. But I encourage you, parents, share the good news of Jesus, the truth of the gospel with them in a way that is age appropriate. See, Jesus suffered a bloody and brutal death. They say that the Roman crucifixion was designed to torture the person, that every breath was agonizing. See, but Jesus wasn't just crucified. They say he was whipped at least 39 times with a whip that had lead and bone tethered to the tip. It would have torn chunks of flesh. Wow, chunks of flesh from his body, every lash, exposing the bone beneath, and blood pouring out from his torn back. Scripture actually says that he was unrecognizable. You might have watched him heal your crippled mother the day before, see her rise miraculously and walk, then bow down and worship Jesus the Christ. But the next day, in passing him on the street, after he endured all that beating for you and I, you might have mocked him as a criminal because you couldn't recognize him. Blood streaming down from the lashings and a crown of thorns that was forced upon his skull. And then he was nailed to a cross. The way it was designed was that it would be a slow death, where you would die by, oh my goodness, asphyxiating on your own blood, drowning in your own blood. Jesus' body would have been weighing down, pulling down on the nails that went through the wrists of his arms, sending explosions of excruciating pain through his fingers, arms, and all over his already brutalized flesh, his lungs collapsing as he hung. And to breathe, he would have had to bear the full weight of his body. See, he was hanging by his wrists, and to catch a breath, he would have had to force his body weight up by pushing against the nails that pierced his feet, just for a breath. It was meant to be a fear-inducing spectacle to all those who would see it. It was to be a high-priced punishment for criminals against the Roman state. But Jesus was innocent, and we were guilty. He willingly gave his life to bear the punishment that you and I deserve. Sin is an offense against God, but God, in his mercy, became a man and died in our place because he loves us. See, Romans chapter 5 verse 8 says, but God shows his love for us in that while we were still sinners, Christ died for us. This is the good news of Jesus. This is what he has done for us. And not just that, but on the third day, he rose again victorious. Death couldn't hold him. Sin couldn't bind him. Sickness must bow to him, and all of heaven and earth will worship him for eternity, because what we were incapable of doing, he graciously did for us.